Invoice Preview. Once a job has been POD'd, priced and readied, it's available to invoice. The first step of this is creating an invoice preview. There are two methods of making an invoice preview depending on whether the customer is an invoice by purchase order or batch, or whether they're just a normal customer. For normal customers, we should use the invoice preview screen. This can be accessed under Invoicing, Invoice Preview. The first step to creating a new invoice preview is to click the Add button. We then want to select a date for the report to run to. Any jobs which were POD'd after this date will not be included in this invoice preview. Next, we want to select the customers. You can either choose specific customers by clicking them on the list, or select all customers by ticking the All Customers checkbox. Press the Save button to create your invoice preview. Your invoice previews appear in a list on the left. To view one of these, click on it to highlight it, and then click the Generate Report button. An invoice preview will then appear in a new tab. Each job will appear on the list with details of its delivery, its price, and other information. The invoice preview will be grouped by customer. Once you have your invoice preview, you may either delete it by pressing the Del button or accept it with the Accept button. If you delete an invoice preview, it will disappear from the list. All of the jobs will remain ticked as ready and will appear next time you create an appropriate invoice preview. Pressing Accept accepts the invoice preview. This then sends it to the invoice screen, ready to be run. Once you accept an invoice preview, you may no longer edit any of the details of the jobs on that invoice preview. This action cannot be undone. Customers, which have been set to invoice by purchase order or invoice by batch, do not appear in the customer list on the invoice preview screen. Invoice previews for these customers must instead be run from the transport pricing screen. Select the customer and batch ref or purchase order for the invoice preview you wish to run and click Apply. You will notice there is an invoice preview button at the bottom of the page. This will remain greyed out until all the jobs upon that purchase order or batch are ready. Once they are all readied, the button becomes clickable. Clicking the Invoice Preview button will then create an invoice preview for these jobs. That preview will appear in the Invoice Preview screen, as would our earlier ones. In this case, you will notice that two invoice previews have been created. This is due to the fact that we decided to exclude the cancelled job upon that batch reference. This has resulted in one invoice with all the normal jobs on, and one invoice for the cancelled job. Once the cancelled invoice preview is accepted, it will disappear. If you set a job to cancelled and excluded, it will never appear in the main invoicing screen.